You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now. Aloha, my friends.
All right.
Happy Sunday. I was about to say happy Saturday. Happy Sunday.
Cheers.
Cheerios.
You're looking cute in your purple.
I'm matching with the sign. I decided to blend with the sign instead of beyond the sign.
How you feeling after all that ice cream? Although I guess I was the one who ate
Yeah,
all.
you devoured it. I had like 3 scoops. Not scoops, spoons. Not even scoops.
I love ice cream, guys. I don't know if you guys saw my video. I think it went viral.
Yeah, totally.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that
Cake
was
pay,
really...
it works.
Yeah, it does.
It's dangerous though.
How about you explain?
Cold
to people
Stone is
that
like
have no idea what you're talking about. So rewind, play. What did you do yesterday?
I feel like everybody listening knows.
Probably.
So as you guys know, Monero.com/cake wallet added a gift card feature where you can instantly buy gift cards on the spot for 150,000 different locations. Yesterday we gave it a go. We gave it a shot from scratch. We did it basically, we did it on the spot without any prep. Super easy to sign up. You just created an email, used a unique email for it for privacy reasons, got it going. And then we quickly did a search for ice cream, and we found Cold Stone on there, which I'm a big fan of, and it's down the block from where we live. And we went and tried it out, and on the spot we were able to buy a Cold Stone gift card for the exact price of the purchase, and in a way where it didn't disrupt the the retailer,
quick.
right?
Yeah.
Like it was just as simple.
He was also confused. He's like, all right, the price is blah blah blah, and you're like, doo-doo-doo.
What do you mean he was confused?
No, he just didn't know what was going on because also I was recording him. So
he was like, what the hell are you guys doing? Why? I was like, doesn't this happen all the time in this day and age? People making
he was like
stupid
a trooper
videos.
though. That was funny.
He was a cool guy. And then we ended up, so we used the feature. We bought the gift card on the spot and paid for our ice cream with it. And it worked out really well. Only problem is we're going to be eating a lot of ice cream.
You.
And
but there's a lot of gift cards.
Yeah. Oh, and then we even convinced him to accept the Monero tip.
You know, the way, he usually flows in the conversation. He's like, oh, you know what? Since this went so easy, I'm going to tip you. And he's like, oh, okay. Then he went to get his phone.
Well, we'll have Vic on to talk more about this, but it's huge. This is huge. Obviously, ideally, right? We're not using gift cards. We're going to be doing the whole Monero circular economy thing. People will be accepting Monero directly, but this is a good temporary bridge. It makes Monero usable for those of us that are already very much into Monero. We could use it on a daily basis for our daily needs. And like the big, mind-blowing thing for me is it makes sense for everybody to do this, even if you're not into Monero yet. I don't want to repeat myself. I'm going to be talking about this with Vic. Let's move on. Anyway,
okay.
it's huge.
Yeah, Vic will be on shortly.
It's big.
It's big. How big? How huge?
Huge.
Anywho's, okay, let's move on. For those of you that haven't watched any of our episodes, I'm just making you aware. We had Luke Parker on. We have 2 parts. We just released part 2 right after. So check that video out, which, by the way, we're doing a New York City meetup on Tuesday. I believe it's August 9th in Manhattan. For those of you in the New York area, stop by. We'll be there.
Come on down.
Parker will be there. Vic will be there. I believe Justin will be there. So it's going to be the gang.
Let's hear it. Come on.
No, that's until later. Not right now. It's too early for that. Yeah, so stop by the meetup if you're in town. It'll
That's
be fun.
Tuesday.
That is Tuesday at 6:30.
Awesome.
6:30 p.m. sharp. But yeah, come on down.
Yeah.
Well, because you just put it in my head.
We were gonna do a live Monerotopia episode, but I don't think so. It's like too much.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be too much.
Yeah.
I mean, people just want to chill. Someone's asking, are teenagers allowed to come to New York City meetup? Yes. Why?
I mean,
why not?
Yeah, it's just the Monero meet. I don't know.
It's just, I mean, it's informative.
We're liberty-loving people, so you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want.
Well, not whatever the hell you want. You know,
I mean, as long as you don't hurt others or whatever, basic golden rule type stuff.
Yeah, but I believe, you can.
Are
come on
teenagers
down.
allowed to come to New York City meetup? That's funny.
Well, actually, I mean, I guess it's a legitimate question.
Like, why
it's
wouldn't
like age limit?
allowed?
I don't know. Sir, I don't know. I guess because sometimes they have like alcohol present.
So you don't drink the alcohol?
Yeah, exactly.
Like a teenager? Like, I don't know.
Well, he wanted to, or she wanted to ask the question.
Hell yes, you're allowed.
Yes,
everybody's allowed. As long as you're there to talk about Monero, not be disruptive.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I'm sure.
I mean, that doesn't mean you can't come down there and criticize Monero, by all means. But
everyone,
the topic has to be, Monero based. Coming down there to just.
All right, looks like we convinced the person, so
yeah,
we'll see
down.
you.
Come on down.
Come on down.
You
or
know,
come on Midtown, isn't it? So
family friendly.
Yes,
I'd say. Although your kids would probably be bored.
Yes, definitely. So
unless Franya's there, but she won't be.
Well, as long as there are other kids, she'll be happy. Otherwise,
yeah,
she'll also be bored. Poor kid. But anywho,
she likes hanging with the adult stuff.
She does. But she also likes hanging out with the kiddies, which I don't blame her. So anywho's, so if you're in New York, please stop by. It'll be fun. I believe we have, if you're interested in coming, just go to the meetup page and just RSVP so we have an idea, because we're gonna have some snacks and some food there. So we just want to have a head count. So
New York
is
looking too dangerous. LOL. Yeah. Don't worry. It's not that dangerous.
Not that dangerous.
We'll protect you.
Okay.
Sunita will protect you.
Yes, I will. So that has to do with Luke Parker. Then we had a bunch of interviews also from the Freedom Fest that we went to that we're just publishing.
So much
we have a lot of content, but we don't want to overwhelm you guys with all that information. So we're slowly releasing them. There was Lola, the Liberty of Alliance, like what was it?
Liberties of
Lola.
Lady or something.
Ladies of Liberty. Sorry, I did it backwards. Ladies of Liberty Alliance. We released that episode. We will be releasing Victor from IVPN shortly, early next week. So stay tuned for that. And just check out our videos if you haven't yet. And we're going to be releasing more and more.
We were supposed to go to Revolution 2022, which is like this another libertarian conference, but for younger people. It was in Orlando this weekend, but we didn't make it.
We couldn't make it, guys. But I'm
I'd
sure
rather not talk about it.
Yeah, but there are so many others.
Sabotaged it.
No, I did not.
No,
sorry. Family problems, apparently. Family.
Whatever.
Anywho.
There'll be plenty of other opportunities.
The year is young.
What else we got?
I think that's about it in regards to videos. Go to our channel.
What else we got coming up? What are some other, house cleaning things?
Right now, it's
planning the next Monerotopia.
We've been talking about figuring out where. We checked out a location in New York, so that's in the running, right? But I guess we'll see.
Right now, we're thinking New York, Miami, where we would continue to follow the Bitcoin conference, or Guadalajara, Mexico, believe it or not, is kind of right. Rise to the top of our list. These are all places that are like relatively cheap to get to from different parts of the world. Although once you get to New York, it's quite expensive. Once you get to Miami, it's very expensive. So we're trying to keep those things into consideration. There's a lot of different factors. I like the New York thing just because I feel like we could get people beyond the Monero community involved. And then we're thinking, if we want to try to do like the Pork Fest type of feel, where it's people, essentially camping out, coming together, and throwing the conference together. We don't know. It's a lot of things up in the air, but we're getting close to a decision, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
We're
Hopefully.
getting close. Maybe, I was thinking maybe we'll do like a spaces, maybe even this week, where we could talk about the next Monerotopia and like throw the ideas out there, the different options, get feedback from people, and use that to make our final choice.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to see what people think.
Miami sucks. Yeah. I mean, I love Miami.
To Miami.
But,
I don't know how effective
and I do,
that
but they
be.
said Mexico. Wait, they said, is Mexico? Oh, yeah, they like Mexico. Yeah, no, I love Mexico too. Mexico, I love because I think we'd maybe get a more larger global crowd there, right? Might be easier for some people to come. People that don't want to go to the US will come to Mexico. Get people from South America coming over. We'll get Europeans coming over. So that plays a big role there. All right, let's move it along.
Yeah. So with that, I guess there's nothing else to chat about. We'll move on to the price report. This is going to be split into 2 parts. It's not that long. It's
split
like 11
into 2 parts.
Meaning 2 videos, because the entire video we weren't able to upload it in one video, but because instead of 10 minutes, it was like 11 minutes. So the more the merrier, but it's going to be split. So just making people aware.
Nightmare. Never been to Mexico. Yeah, you'd love it, man. Nothing not to like about Mexico.
All righty, let's move on to the price segment. The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. And this is the price report number 30 for this week. And let's get started. The 3 things I'm going to talk about in this report. The first is the list of countries with high inflation. And I'm going to do some projection. So I gathered data from different sources and just going to make some logic out of that. And then one of the on-chain data that got triggered. And later I'm going to come to technical analysis. So let us talk about inflation. You see the countries that are marked in dark red and red color is having high inflation as of today, right? And if you see this list, this is for the G20 Group 20 countries of the developed and the emerging countries, nations worldwide. And you would see that the inflation in Turkey is about 80% today. And when you're talking about states, it's 9%, and most of the European countries are around 7 to 10% as of today. And this is an interesting part because I believe there is a threshold beyond which when the inflation crosses, it's really, really hard for the governments to take back control to bring down inflation. We can see this in the example of Turkey. They had about 11% inflation a couple of years back in 2020. They were kind of managing that, which is already quite high, and it went out of bounds. And then now it's 70%, also because of some of the policies that they did, and probably bad policies. And if you see an example of Venezuela, historically, like this is ranging back to about 30 years, 35 years. They started with something like 11% inflation back then and went to 40, tried to control it. And at some point, it just goes out of hand. And this was hyperinflation. Good for them that they have exited the hyperinflation. Now it's back to around 1,500%, projected to 500% in a year from now. But this is still, it's unbelievable, right? So that's why government start to go into this panic mode when the inflation reaches really high levels, because it can cripple the whole economy of the country. Having said that, this is a list of the change in the annual inflation rate since the pandemic started. And you would see the worldwide, for example, in Israel, the inflation rates were a negative, and now it's 25x. It's still about quite low. I mean, it's about 3%, but they had negative before. So worldwide, the inflation percentage increase has been enormous. Some of the economies have been doing well. I won't believe the last in line, but there are, all throughout you would see it's increased rapidly. And certainly Turkey has really one of the emerging countries with high inflation rates. That is a cause for concern for the country. So this is about the inflation part, and also to indicate the inflation is the overall increase in the price levels. And there is the official inflation rate is calculated by measuring this thing called CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, which tracks the cost of living. So the cost of living worldwide has really shot up. So now we get to the on-chain analysis. So the reason I want to show this is because this fuel multiple, which indicates the health of miners, this indicator got triggered just a few days back. And what I want to show from this is whenever this is the price of Bitcoin that you see in blue, and the one in red is the pool multiple. Basically, whenever this enters into a greenish territory, that means miners are really finding difficult to pay their bills and capitulating, basically selling off their mining farms or selling their Bitcoins. And when it reaches red, that means it's they are in really, really good health. And what happened just within the last few days is that this has come back above the green zone. That means the health of miners are again starting to look good. So what can take place from here is either they sell off their Bitcoins because they are doing better. So they might be a little careful about not going back into the green territory because of the market conditions, or they might be in a good health accumulating Bitcoins. So we have to wait and watch what happens. Not many Bitcoins are printed per day. However, let's move on. So let's move on to the technical analysis. So this is the 1 hourly chart for Bitcoin. And we're gonna, let's see, this is interesting because this is when we had this about 2 months ago, mid of June, we had this capitulation to 17,000. And since then you would see that Bitcoin has been making lower highs. So what that means is you would see that this is the first lower high, this is the second lower high, and this is the third lower high. And that is where we are right now, about 200 weekly moving average, right? Also called the OG support. And what might be happening from here, as I see, is that if we have this projection from the last two tops of the cycle that we saw in the last 2 months, and we project that up, we get about the 16th of August, about the mid of August, and this is technically worked out pretty well, that we can expect to see some sort of pump to the upside. And my expectation would be, if everything goes as we see, of course things are subject to change, then we reach this resistance level about 30,000, it's about here, or 28,000, about here. And then there is a possibility for us to come back down to the current levels of 200 week moving average, about 23,000. And certainly there are also calls of us going down to the levels of 10,000, which I don't feel like the case. So let me try to highlight why I think so. Here you would see, this is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. And here you would see I've added something called the hash ribbons, which is pretty much in reflection of what I said before about the pool multiple, which is the miner's health. So whenever you see us going into the red zone, the miners are capitulating, and when they come back up, they come back strong in their health. So I want to show you a couple of things here. Sorry. Let me just get a vertical line over here. So whenever historically, let's start with the 2017 bear market. So the miners had capitulated. Miners historically capitulate when the bear market is about to end. That is when they capitulate. And you would see that after they capitulate and they come back, they turn healthy. There is a bull market that ensues because people and miners start accumulating once more. And the effect will be less and less as we go forward because the number of coins produced in a day is less as compared to before, every 4-year cycle. And that has been the case every time whenever they come out of capitulation, the bull market ensues. And now you see that they have entered capitulation when, let's say, the bear market phase had already begun, and the pattern repeats or at least rhymes. And I also want to show what is the time period of the capitulation of these miners. So it's about 70 days. And also, if you look at the charts, the hash ribbons from the past, it's about 70 to 90 days at max. So that means about 3 months of projection from here on. So they started doing this end of May, and if we just project this, let's say even 100 days, so that shows us about 19th of September. So that is a month and a half from here when we can expect some kind of a relief rally to the upside. Again, that is just a projection based on probability and pattern matching. So let's go ahead with the XMR USD chart. And here I have drawn an interesting indicator, that is the volume oscillator. And what I want to show from this is whenever the volume oscillator goes to the negative, let's say about minus 20% that you see on the right, there is a pump or a dump that ensues because the volume comes back up strong and there is a relief rally, for example. So I've seen 8 out of 10 times in XMR in the history, there is a relief rally when we come back from a low volume oscillator to high. And you can see here, I'm just matching the two graph and the volume oscillator. You can see here, there is a rally that happened. And you can see here, there's a rally that happened. And again, and we are again moving towards the negative territory. So likelihood that in the coming days, there is a pump to the upside, and the amount that we pump is about 1.5 to 2x. So again, this is just based on pattern matching and probability. So it's not the source of truth. And in terms of volumes, again, this has to happen when the volumes take up. This is about $180 of price level that I was looking at, and I would like to see us go up with high volumes. If so, we break that level. And for Monero, the average price in a bull market has been about $200 million. And I see the volumes picking back up. I saw about an average volume of $120 million on a daily basis, which is healthy as compared to a few months back when we were lurking around $60 to $70 million. And the last in line is the XMR BTC chart. It has been a good news that it's been doing pretty well in the long-term trend line thing, which I had drawn before. So in terms of also let me hide this guy. So long-term trend line, let me get the 1 week map. So yes, in terms of BTC, we had been doing pretty well. However, in terms of the RSI, we have on a weekly basis, we are quite overbought at the moment. So we can certainly go back up, but at some point, I do expect some kind of correction in XMR BTC. And that is all from my side for this price report. I hope you all enjoyed, and I wish you all have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.
All righty. Oh, wait, because it didn't end yet. There you go. Now it did.
Send aFungible some tips, guys.
Yes. Thank you, aFungible, for creating that wonderful report that everyone looks forward to every week. We will be posting it on its own.
You think market's gonna take another dip, or bottoms in, or on our way up? What's just your feel? Just the Sunita.
Another dip.
Really? All right. I don't know. She's pretty good at calling these type of things.
Well, anyways, let's move on. Who cares what I think?
Another dip to pick up some cheap coins. I mean, the macro is just so crazy. Inflation being so high. Good numbers came in with the economy. So I think that the Fed isn't going to really have an issue with, raising the interest rates some more. Who knows? All right. What else we got?
We got our wonderful guest segment.
Oh, maybe Vic knows.
Maybe he does. All righty. The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys. Hello.
Well, this is really zoomed in.
Yeah, there we go. I wanted everyone to.
I'm gonna move back so I'm not like in your face. That's better.
No, it was the way.
Up close and personal with Vic.
That's how
I know. It's scary.
Yeah. That's how we.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you? Terrible view in the back over there. It's disgusting.
I know, it's awful. It's
awful.
only well, I guess that way it's Queens, right? That's where you are.
Wait,
Have you ever been to Queens?
have you ever been to that far
Just
away?
to the airport. Just to the
I
airport.
wouldn't.
Just to LaGuardia.
Well,
Just
we're
a
not.
quick pass through.
I always crack up at these when we talk like this because we know each other personally
yeah.
very
We're
well.
leaving right there.
And
I
here we
think
got
it
to
makes it entertaining for people. Why not?
Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself for those that don't know who you are. We don't know who you are.
Vic Sharma, founder of Cake Wallet and
Master
the
of gift cards.
Monero.com. Master of gift cards for today. Yeah.
That's hilarious. So yeah, I don't know if
Master of
you
gift cards.
Dude, we
you heard us-
gave it a
or
try
heard-
yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know if you
It was
heard
awesome.
us at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, that was a great video. You know, when you after you press send on your Monero and you're waiting for that gift card, I was like, oh my god, please don't let it
I
fail.
know, that
Please
was
don't let it
awesome.
fail.
Like,
So was
I
I.
was like videotaping.
It's like in 2 seconds. It's like in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I had no idea what was going to happen
Yeah.
at that point. I was like, uh-oh. I was like, is this guy
Were you pleasantly surprised?
I was definitely pleasantly
Yeah.
surprised.
Good.
I was even more surprised when I saw that they actually had Cold Stone ice cream on there. I was like, no way, Cold Stone.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that search function some more. But if you have a brand in mind, just type it in. It's probably in there.
No Five Guys. We need
Oh
to get
yeah,
Five Guys
actually,
on
yeah.
there.
Five Guys was
Five Guys. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll make a
I
note
need,
of that.
we need a good burger place on there. Get a New York burger joint. Five Guys. I don't know who's the. I don't know. I guess I'm a Five Guys guy.
Yeah, Five
Shake
Guys.
Shack would be
Shake
cool.
Shack. I like
Shake Shack's not on there.
I
No,
don't think so.
and Wendy's isn't on there either. Because we're like, all right. So then we kept going down.
All right. Can we focus on who is on there? No.
we got a lot
We
of
got Cold
requests.
Stone.
You got Cold Stone. Got your
You
book.
got Cold Stone. You got Dunkin' Donuts. You got
said Applebee's, and the Doug said he
Yeah.
didn't like Applebee's.
yeah. And then there's Saks. There's a lot of shopping though, which was
There's
good.
Saks Fifth Avenue. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
That's going to
awesome.
be an issue. Cindy's going to go on a little shopping
Yeah.
spree.
I was like, what? Yeah, they
I'm
were
trying to convince. I'm trying to drag Sonali to Saks here in New York so she can buy something. I can film
with
it.
Yeah, dude.
Nobody wants to see me buying something. Yeah.
It was her. Yeah, it was funny because we did all that like back to back. We like went through the motions of, adding the email address, and then we went to the Cold Stone, and it was just like it was very quick.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly
So, yeah.
surprised with the sign up process too.
Congrats.
It's
It was
literally just an
very
email.
quick. It was
Right. Even the one-time password came quickly. One-time pin.
everything was
came
very
quickly. Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Great.
Even, like when he was about to pay, I was like, I was like crossing my fingers.
What is the company behind it? Well, the company you guys said?
Our provider. It's called Ionia.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same company that's in DashPay.
Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but we had to, of course, work with them and build a whole Monero payout, payment system.
Right.
For this. So that's probably what took the longest.
Okay.
Which is
Well,
good,
what was involved with that when you say build out a Monero payments? Like just
I'm not techie. I couldn't
okay.
even tell you.
Essentially just a way for them to accept Monero and then easily
Exactly.
liquidate it as needed into dollars.
Yeah. Yep. And this is the Monero part is exclusive on Cake Wallet and Monero.com. So you won't see that in other wallets. Unless they come up with some other provider, but that's us.
Oh, all right. That's the kind. Awesome.
Dude, look at that.
So if you want to use Monero for gift cards, there's only one place to go.
If you want to use it within the wallet. Yeah.
How did they do the 1% to 3% like
discount?
How is it? How does business model work?
I think these providers obviously are dealing in massive bulk business with merchants, and it seems there's one or two large companies that manage gift cards, and they go to these vendors and show them the large volume, and we're able to get that kind of discount. So, and we pass it on.
Yeah. Awesome that you do that.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is the rate of exchange is taken right off of Kraken at that time.
Oh.
So it's not like Ionia is making money off the exchange rate.
Right.
So
it's almost too good to be
Yeah,
true.
I
What's the
know.
catch, Vic? What's the catch?
what's the catch?
Just download the wallet.
No.
The catch is
Have
people are
fun.
spending all their Monero.
I know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a ploy to make you get rid of your Monero.
Which is
Knew
awesome.
it.
Like,
Vic
I
and
know-
Justin at it.
You know, this is a big thing because it's not just for us people that are already like super into Monero, but it's just a selling point for Monero in general. It's like, why use credit card? Why use debit card or, Google Pay or Apple Pay when you can use this thing where you're effectively obscuring your transaction history, right? As you do it, you're getting the 1 to 3%. So it just makes sense. It's like a real selling point for Monero in general when you try to onboard somebody, a newbie, to Monero, and they're like, "Well, why should I use this?" Like, you just do the same purchases you're already doing, but you're getting 1 to 3% cash back, and plus you're not giving away all your data. And then you explain to people why that's important. Most people don't understand why that's important, but once they do, it becomes kind of like a no-brainer to use.
Yeah. I mean, you said a lot of things just now. One is you said you're not giving up your data. You probably saw Marshall's tweet this morning, replied to, I think it was aFungible or somebody's question. Ionia doesn't know the amount you purchased. Has no idea. Everyone's talking about that email issue for verification, but they have no idea how much of a gift card you purchased.
Right. They just know. Well, what do they know then? They just know that
They know you bought something. Yeah.
Okay. That's huge. Yeah. Okay.
And then you mentioned Apple Pay. The first time I used it, when we were still just testing it internally, I went down to Chipotle. I think it was Chipotle, and I pulled out my phone and I did a gift card. And I was like, wow, this is going to compete with Apple Pay. This is going to compete with Google Pay. And you said the same thing right now. That's pulled out my phone. Maybe it's one button extra, or you type in the amount. That's about it, extra, than using Apple Pay or Google Pay. So which was really blue. I didn't even understand the impact until I used it myself. Then I was like, wow, we're going to be competing with these guys. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, when we went yesterday, it was hilarious. We went there, like obviously, if you saw the video, like you'll see, like on the register, it says we do not accept Apple Pay or Google Pay. So I was like, oh.
You already beat it.
It was hilarious.
Exactly, already beat it.
It was like perfect. It's very strange how everything flows.
I'm reading the sign, and then I'm like, do you accept gift cards?
Yeah,
like,
and he's like, yeah.
And
I'm like, crossing my fingers because I'm like videotaping this. I was like, let's hope as fast as it is, and it was very, very fast.
The other major thing too is now with just onboarding people to Monero directly. Like I go to the farmer's market, I want to use, I like to tip people. Obviously, I've been doing that, and then the biggest thing that comes up is, all right, well now what do I do with it? Like, thanks for your your $10 tip. Thanks, sir. Seems cool. You said
nice toy you gave me.
Yeah, like now what do I do with it?
Yeah,
like oh, well now you just swipe left and you can use you could buy whatever the hell you want with it.
So even
it's like problem. Now it's just the equivalent of getting cash.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? Better than cash. And I give Justin this credit. I wish I would have thought of it. But better and cheaper than paying with cash. Because with cash you're paying 100%. With this you're getting 1 to 3% discount.
Yeah.
So it's actually better than cash.
Yeah.
Cheaper than cash.
Right. And then you're not dealing with physical cash too. It's just
exactly. Yeah. It's all right there in your pocket.
Someone's asking when rollout to other countries, because right now you're doing it in the States, right? So
it's only US, yeah.
And obviously it takes time, right? So we're
we're working on it. There's no ETA, but definitely we're working with Ionia to get that across other countries. But one thing interesting about other countries, I think Artic Mine made a comment on Reddit. So let's say you are overseas, but you're going to be visiting the US. So if you use your overseas credit card, you're going to be paying exchange fees, your credit card fees, and exchange fees, you always get ripped off. Now, if you have Monero or Bitcoin or Litecoin and you're in those countries and you're coming to New York, let's say next week, you can shop at most places using your crypto.
Yeah.
And save money rather than paying the fees to the bank and the exchange fees to the bank. So as an overseas person, you can still buy it and spend it in the US or spend it online at a US store. So there's another advantage. You're killing the foreign exchange rates.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Yeah. And getting a saving.
Yeah.
And the savings.
Yep.
I mean, is this when we say too good to be true? I mean, you think they're gonna these gift card companies are here to stay in terms of the way they function, where they only need an email only, or is this kind of like?
I mean, who knows what's
in before they've kind of cracked down on it type of deal.
Right. I mean, right now we're fully under the regulations. We're not.
Right.
But who knows what's going to happen in the future? I mean, everybody's been saying this is going to happen, that's going to happen for crypto for years, and really nothing's happened. We're keeping the limits where where we don't have to do anything more than what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything about crackdown on gift cards or anything like that. But who knows the future, right?
Yeah.
So use it now. Download it now and use it.
Yeah, use it now. And obviously the goal, we always say the goal is Monero circular economy. We won't be using gift cards. We'll be using Monero directly. But this is a beautiful in-between bridge.
It's a workaround.
Yeah,
it's definitely a workaround. But if you're earning in crypto somewhere, now you can spend it. Now you can use it. Yeah.
Like I was saying, guys, use it as a way to just get people to use Monero. So now you can go to the farmer's market. You can convince the guy, if you're in the US, you can convince the guy to accept Monero because it's really not a big decision for him at that point. Because when he receives it, he could then turn around and easily spend it on something.
Right.
So it really does help build the Monero circular economy in that way, I think.
I think so. I think it's a good middle ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna do video of that next, trying to go to like farmers markets, places, and get people to accept Monero directly, and then with the selling point of sure, you just I spend $30 on this whatever organic eggs and whatever you're selling me, you can turn around and use this Monero however you wish at these 150,000 locations.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you'll be convinced.
Yeah, you know what else is interesting that's happening in Cake Wallet and Monero.com wallet, and I don't know if it's just a coincidence. I guess time will tell. But ever since we launched, maybe 12 hours afterwards, the exchange volume in Cake Wallet has gone through the roof. People going from Bitcoin to Monero. It's just like the best days ever. It's really strange.
Wait, ever since you
launched the gift cards? Yeah, ever since we went live with the gift cards, the exchange volume has gone through the roof.
Oh, interesting.
But again, it's been 3 days? Could be purely coincident.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's people going from Bitcoin into Monero.
Oh yeah, 90% of our trades are Bitcoin to Monero.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, like this doesn't work as well with Bitcoin. Like, sure, you can use Bitcoin to buy gift cards on the spot.
Yeah.
But one, you're dealing with transaction fees, and two, it's not private, right? It's like why
exactly.
If you're gonna go buy your gift card, why wouldn't you use Monero at that point? It's like
exactly. It's known where you sent your Bitcoin, right? If that gift card receiver's address is known publicly, then yeah, of course. But if people are earning in Bitcoin and they want to spend this way, it helps overall crypto adoption, which eventually, as I say, all roads lead to Monero. So
and end up there in your apartment, and that's the end of the. Is that the end of the Monero road right there where you are? You're literally like the end of the rainbow. You're
exactly. No, we're just a cobbler, as I say. We're a cobbler of the Monero world. We're just making wallets with leather.
And it's a little cobbler. What's next, man? How do we get it to where we're now easily replenishing our Monero?
Yeah, that's the next step.
Obviously, that's the holy grail.
Yeah, as you know, we launched that company BlockBuy.
Yep.
For that purpose. So work is continuing on that. Because of the gift card thing, we kind of slowed down there because we saw this as an immediate use, and we can be in all 50 states immediately. Whereas BlockBuy would be a few states at first and then go from there. But this we saw would make a greater impact for Monero users, and we wanted to get this out first. So, but work didn't stop on BlockBuy; it continued, and it still continues.
Stoic is asking, any possibility to buy a generic Visa gift card to theoretically pay anywhere that accepts fiat? I think
Stand by.
I heard you
Stand by. It's
Okay.
coming. Yeah, we're working on it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, because I saw there was some other company that recently announced, right, that they have that feature.
Well, I'll tell. I mean, you saw. I think it was Edge that announced, and then 2 days later they were shut down.
No, it's Arc something, right?
Oh, Arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw that on Reddit, but I don't know much about them. Yeah.
Have to check that out.
Yeah.
But you guys think that this gift card service might add that? Why don't they have it already?
It's just a different product, different
Okay.
requirements. Yeah. I mean, Visa and MasterCard are different companies, different vendors. So, but that's something we want to add ASAP. I think that'll be huge as well. So I think the next two steps for the gift card is adding Visa, MasterCard, and then adding more countries.
Sweet.
Not necessarily in that order, but simultaneously.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. All right. We got a bunch of people that want to jump on, Vic. So
sure.
I don't know if you're hanging around.
Yeah, sure.
Hang around.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah.
Chill. Hang. We're gonna do the
drink
news
coffee from my tiny cup.
Well, hello there. You need your thank you. Anywho's okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Vic.
Yeah, let's do the news and then we'll come
do
back.
the news right
All
now,
right.
and then we'll come back. All right. Stay.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So.
My love, baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me.
Minute. How's it going? I think you're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted, Tony.
There we go.
No, we still don't hear you. Hello?
Hello?
Now. Here we go.
And now we got you.
Now we got you.
Is it good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hey guys.
How's it
going on, man?
How are you?
There's a lot of exciting things that you guys talked about that I want to touch upon onto the first article. And it's been a good week in Monero, so I'm excited to talk about these things right now.
Take us through it, buddy.
Take it away.
Okay, so for the first thing, we obviously had Vic on. He talked about CakePay, which is a very, very cool and exciting thing. And now you can actually spend your Monero. You can save 1 to 3%, and you can spend it in over 150,000 locations in the US. And the only thing that you need to provide is an email. We have had people like Doug and Sunita tip people in real life with Monero and Cake Wallet. And the question was, how do you spend it, or what can I do with it? And now within Cake Wallet, you can just go and buy a gift card, and you can actually spend that Monero, which is awesome. And you can buy arbitrary amounts like 354.23. You don't need to buy like 40, 60, 100. You can buy whatever amounts you want. And also, if you take a video of yourself using CakePay before August 13th, you'll get a free $20 gift card, which is super, super cool. So I'm definitely excited to use this when I go back to the US, and I'm definitely looking forward for this to be used internationally as well. So this was for the first news. Now on to the next thing. Jimmy Song tweeted that Monero is a centralized Chaumian eCash done poorly. Why? Because they print their own money and have an unnecessary blockchain. To this, obviously, the whole community commented back, and they weren't happy with what he tweeted. And even myself, I just replied, can you actually give us some claims? Can you actually talk about those things that he said? Or those are just, things that you think are true, but they're not. And that resulted in probably the whole community being blocked by Jimmy, which is very funny. But yeah, Monero is not centralized, and it's not an unnecessary blockchain. We have maximalists that say that Monero is okay. And even if you don't agree with privacy by default and all that Monero has to offer, at least just, just say that, Monero is good, or, not that it's a shit coin or all these things that a lot of people say. So this was interesting, and it was kind of funny when he posted that.
Yeah, he's dead set on the fact that, or what he thinks, that Monero is centralized. It's like I'm not even really following his logic there, like as to why that only applies to them Monero and not Bitcoin, like the earlier days of Bitcoin. I don't really see understand his argument as to why he has defined Monero as being centralized. Crazy.
Yeah, centralized and unnecessary blockchain. I mean, again, just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean that it's unnecessary or, shitcoin or, whatever you want to call it. So according to the title, welcome to Jimmy Song's clown world. And now let's go to the next thing. So once again, Binance blocked the XMR withdrawals. So we can talk about this every single week, because every single week they keep blocking withdrawals and then they re-enable them every few days. So if you are going to buy Monero, obviously try to use an ATM or local Monero, or if you are going to use Binance or Kraken, buy it and just take it out immediately and put it into Cake Wallet or whatever you want to. Because if not, they're going to block withdrawals and you're going to have a lot of issues. So this was just a quick thing. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's happening way too often that it's just nothing new at this point. But now on to the next thing. So you guys talked with Vic before about Allark, and I've seen this news as well, that they are now accepting Monero. Before it was just Bitcoin, Lightning Network, Dogecoin, and Litecoin. And they now also accept Monero. And you can buy prepaid visas in the US only. And then they have Amazon, Airbnb, Starbucks, and some other things, and Steam. So it's cool that now you can actually spend Monero easier and easier. But I'm just so excited about CakePay because you can buy it from the wallet. So if you send a tip to someone that doesn't know about Monero, you can just send it into the wallet and they can just buy a gift card from the wallet and spend it, in a couple seconds. And it is a competition to Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and everything that you guys talked about earlier. And I think you guys went to get some ice cream. They weren't accepting Apple Pay and Samsung Pay, but they were accepting gift cards, and you were able to pay with yeah. So that's crazy, but it's super interesting and it's cool. So it is a competition. And now on to the next thing. So Israel is shifting towards digital payments. We talked about this a bit last week, but now I have a couple more things that I want to touch upon. So starting August 1st, they really want to limit the use of cash to less and less. So you can still use cash, but up to a certain point. So for example, if you're not identified as a business owner, you can transact up to $4,360, but you can't do more than that. More than that has to be done through digital payments. And this is because they want to basically they want to combat organized crime and money laundering and non-compliance with tax laws and all these things. But it's really just a way for them to get you onto digital payments, and eventually they'll get rid of cash. So they'll be able to surveil you and do all these things. And I think they also talked about how many, in 2019, the cash transaction limit was $3,200 per client within a company. And this is becoming less and less, to the point of probably it's just not worth it to use cash. So you just use digital payments. So across the world, people are tightening their control over cash. They want to use it less and less. In Norway, Sweden, everywhere, it's just happening more and more. And it's all in the name of combating money laundering, crime, non-compliance with tax laws, which is not that true. I mean, it does happen, of course, but it's a much broader plan, not just that. And on to the next thing, we have the Coincards percentage numbers for the month of July. Outside the US of Canada, we had Bitcoin at 41% and Monero at 19%. Now in Canada, we have Bitcoin at 48% and Monero at 14%. But in the US, it's actually an insane flippening because Monero is at 51% and then
Crazy.
Bitcoin at 35%.
Why do you think it's so high in Canada? That's where they're located, right? What do you think? I mean, why do you think Bitcoin is so much higher in Canada and the Monero is higher in the US? What's going on there? Maybe Artic Mine might have some insight into that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
On stage.
Well, yeah, I don't know, because probably a lot of people in Canada know about cryptocurrency and they start to dislike the government more and more. So now we have a mass of people trying to use Bitcoin, and they haven't.
But I'm saying, why is the Monero number so low in Canada but so high in the U? You know, it flipped Bitcoin here in the US, but not in Canada. It's strange.
Yeah, I think people are just not as aware of liberty and privacy as much as people in the US are concerned of. I think that's definitely a thing. But that's certainly some interesting metrics. Also, Lightning Network is almost not used at all. 3%, 4% almost in Canada, and then 0.3% in the US, which is very interesting.
That is tremendous news, though. I mean, the fact that Monero has completely leapfrogged Bitcoin in the US for Coincards usage. I mean, that's a very strong indication that people, when they want to use crypto for actual making purchases, they're moving over to Monero.
Yeah, for sure. And it has been for a couple months, I think since April, or I can't recall, but for a couple months so far, we've had a streak in the US where we only use Monero predominantly to buy gift cards. So not just this month.
Beautiful. What else you got?
Yeah, well, this was pretty much it for this week. The other things were smaller things, but the most exciting things for me were the Cake Pay and then Allark, but predominantly Cake Pay because it's just so easy to use. It's all within the app. So again, before you would tip people in Monero, but then they wouldn't know what to do with it. And I can just tell them that, hey, with this, go to this tab in the app and you can buy ice cream, you can buy Chipotle, you can buy whatever. And then they'll probably say, oh, you just paid for my lunch, or you just gave me some free ice cream, you know, which is very cool. And I can't wait for this to be international. And also what's very good to know is that I forgot the name of the company that they partner with, but they actually don't know how much you buy of. They just know that you bought some gift cards, but not how much, as far as I understood.
Yeah. Vic was just confirming that, which is tremendous.
Yeah, so the only thing is just an email, basically.
Yep.
And then you can just spend your Monero.
Yeah, and obviously I would recommend, creating a unique email just for this thing, and don't use that email anywhere else, so it can't be associated with your identity.
Yeah, for sure. And then if you want to buy, additional gift cards from this website, you can as well. I've never used it before, but it's cool that they accept Monero as well.
Sweet. Lot of good positive adoption news, right?
Yeah, I think
ways to use Monero, ways to spend. Nightmare saying Canadians love BTC because Canadians do what they are told. Americans dislike their government, and we use XMR over here. All right, that could be it.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, land of the free.
Yeah, yeah. But I think John posted a tweet in which he showed that Monero has been on an uptrend for the past couple of months when it comes to transactions and everything. Just goes up. Like we've had all-time high in July, then in June, so it just keeps going and going. And again, this is not really a bull market. We're still in a bear market, but these things really boost the circular economy, and it just shows in transactions.
Awesome, man.
Awesome.
Great job. Let's we're gonna move it along just so we have a bunch of people waiting to jump on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for joining us this week, and we'll see
Tony,
you
stay on if you want.
Stay on if you want to chat with
but
viewers on stage. But thank you.
Let's get Artic up here.
All right. It's the Viewers on Stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down.
God, I gotta change that.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
All
Artic.
right.
What's going on, man?
Well, a lot of interesting things I've been hearing, and people have questions as to why in Canada you don't have the flip on Coincards that you have in the United States. And I would suggest there's two reasons. The first one is the spreads. This is getting to be a really tight spread market. Let's say I buy $100 US worth of gift cards. The Bitcoin fee is about $1. Now, then you look at what your spreads are. Well, there's only one exchange, and that's Kraken, and it does not have a CAD XMR pair. So now you have an extra spread there, and the on-ramp is a lot harder. So if you factor that in, it's cheaper in Canada, very likely to use Bitcoin and pay the fee, the Bitcoin fee, and in the United States, it's cheaper to use Monero. That's what I could see from just looking at spreads, costs, on-ramps from fiat, etc. So that's, I think, the issue. There's no CAD XMR pair, and at the same time, the fees in Bitcoin are low enough that becomes competitive on the Bitcoin side. So you're still saving, you're still paying that 1%. You know, you're shifting into the Bitcoin network instead of going the spread, say, within Kraken of CAD BTC, BTC XMR.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, is what's going on here. So yeah, I mean, that's an obvious example. This whole coin card thing and cash card, and I mean, by the way, in my opinion, BIC has a winner here, and the biggest market, in my view, is going to be this cross-border market, because contrary to a lot of people think, cash is actually very competitive for in-person transactions because you don't pay any of the fees. The merchant gets paid right away. It's simple, and as much as you say, it's actually still very much a competitor. The minute you go cross-border, and I had a really interesting example, you'll pay about 3% extra on what the merchant pays, and this is on your exchange rate. And I had a really interesting case. I had a US dollar credit card, and that is actually issued by a Canadian bank, and I wanted to link it to my US PayPal account. Now, because I'm a Canadian, they send the payment. They send a small payment to test payment, send a code, and then they refund it. And you see the spread, and it's over 6% cost you're scoring by. It was about $2.45 payment under $191 US would be the mid market. But they charge about 6% when you look at the full spread, just between what you pay the credit card company and what you get back when the merchant refunds. So you're talking another 3% right there. That's why people are, why these cross-border payments are so important. You look at the EU, they regulated the credit card fees on the merchant pay only for domestic payments to push this cashless society. Well, what happens when you travel there? Well, now the merchant is paying the full spread, the higher fee, and you're still stuck with a 3%, 4% on your credit card just to convert your currency into the euro on top of what they charge the merchant. So it's huge. And now, if you ask what's the catch is very simple. You'd be paying the 3% anyway in credit card fees. So now what's happening is the merchant is saving on the credit card fees because they're getting paid effectively. That's in Spanish, I can say pagos en efectivo, effective payments. So they're saving the fee, and that's why they can give you that 1 to 3% discount on purchasing the gift card. But that's essentially what is coming down here. So yeah, well, then you factor in the spread between, say, USD and XMR, and then, I mean, you get a 1%, it's going to be comparable to cash. But if you got that international transaction, now you've got a 3% advantage. And that's kind of what I'm saying, that the fiat system, its weakest point is people sending money across borders or people carrying money across borders. That's just my experience on all this. So this is why I think BIC has a winner here with these cross-border payments. It's a big issue. If I'm going to go to the States right now, I can probably get a 1% spread, 1.2 on it. by using cash, by not using I have to use cash. I have to go to a dealer, pay them with my debit card, interestingly enough, withdraw US cash because the bank gives you a rotten rate. And then I can pay my US dollar credit card in Canada with that US cash. And then I can get rid of these spreads. So yeah, I mean, now if you go to pay gas in the States, a lot of places will charge you 3% right off the bat, a 3% discount on cash. So again, that international transaction, the minute you cross a border, the fees are really high. And that's where, and it's on the exchange, it's hidden. It's very opaque. I mean, people don't realize it until they actually look at statements and see what they actually get paid. They give you a rate in Europe, they give you a rate on the terminal, you have no point of comparison. What it is. So there's a lot of hidden fees in this when you start going internationally. And that's kind of my thought on the whole thing. So yeah, the domestic market is a lot more fierce than that international market. There's real opportunity in that international market, in the cross-border. The Canadian spending money in Europe, the European spending money in the United States, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Artic Mine. I tell you the truth, I didn't even think of that until I read your comment on Reddit.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, that was. I think it's very insightful because you're losing money on the exchange fee just to start off. You know, going from CAD to USD to come here or from anywhere, your bank's going to rip you off when you use your credit card or debit card. Your ATM is going to rip you off. So
ATMs are really bad.
Exactly.
I've heard stories. I think it was someone withdrew 100 euros and ended up paying $180 US.
Yikes!
I mean, that's a real horror story. You don't even want to go near those things. Yeah. I mean, I basically, when I travel, now granted, I'm a baby boomer. I'm just going to be turning 65 very soon. I really stick to cash. And for example, interestingly enough, what Travala is offering, which is an interesting, there you can book your hotels with Monero, and that's another way to minimize these fees.
We have
your hotel at your airport, and so you get that way. You can get around that way. But your gift card product in the United States is really powerful because you can go into the store, pay, you know roughly what the amount is going to be, or the exact amount, or even if you can just top it up with a small amount of cash. But my point is you can mitigate these fees. If I go to the States and I can save 3% on all of my expenses on a trip, well, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, this is where I'm getting at. So it's that international payment where you really have the advantage over the fiat system right now.
So maybe throwing Monerotopia in the U.S. isn't the worst thing after all, right? Save 3%.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is very simply. I mean, if I go in, let's say I want to go and go down to the States and buy something on Home Depot in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I can pay cash, which is about 1%. If I actually take cash. It'll cost me about 3% with a credit card or 4%. And that's assuming the merchant does not give me a discount on cash. So that's what I'm looking. Now, if I can throw it around and pay with Monero, buy a gift card, which is your product, essentially, then I can use that at the Home Depot. Well, I'm saving 2-3% right off the bat. Even without the discount. And that's my point. You have a margin there because what you're passing on is essentially what the merchant is paying the credit card company. That's why you're getting that 1 to 3% off.
Vic, did you say hotels.com is on there? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, we have hotels.com. Actually, I used it a couple of days ago to book a hotel for a colleague. Yeah, it worked great.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Are there any gas stations on it? Do you know?
I don't know.
I wouldn't use it for gas in the United States because you're probably better off paying cash. At least that's what I have seen. I'm serious about this one.
Yeah.
If you go to most gas stations, at least I'm driven through the West Coast, and what I see is about a 3% difference between cash and card.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get that discount. So that's the thing. Now, so what's going to happen there Oh, wait a minute, what's going to happen then? If they give you a gas prepaid card, then they'll give you the cash rate probably. That's what I'm guessing. But that's what you have to find out. I don't know on that one. But I would guess if it's their prepaid value card, they should give you the cash rate.
Or like Uber.
I don't see
Uber would be
that.
big, right?
But the problem is they're not gonna be able to give you the discount then, because that discount is essentially what they're paying the credit card company.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're building that out in the credit card fee, then the fee for the card is going to be the same thing. So I think in gas, merchants are passing that discount, that 3% discount of gas, right on to the consumer at the pump. At least in the States, that's what I've noticed. Then gas might be cheaper still to go with cash.
Yeah, cheaper with cash, but convenient. I'm just saying, just convenient for Monero usage. If you want to live off of Monero, spend Monero, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, like for example, if I get a 3% discount on Monero, then yeah, I'm going to compete with cash or a 2% discount.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But your margin isn't the same as if you go to a business that's going to give you the same rate for cash and for credit card.
Right.
And that's that extra 3% or 2% or whatever that discount is going to be there. That's the distinction.
Hey, Doug,
And
you
of
mentioned
course-
that.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead, Artic. No, please. I didn't mean to.
Oh,
interrupt.
no. You were going to say something.
No.
No, I was just going to comment that Doug mentioned Monero, Uber, and we had Uber while in testing phase, but we're just having too much trouble with it, so we took it out temporarily. But we're probably hoping to put that back in at the next release.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's going to take a sales space to me, because I'm a big believer in taking a classic taxi and paying cash for it. And there's no tracking on either side.
I love it. Cash, taxis.
It's sometimes you have to look at the old-fashioned way. I hate to say this, but yeah, cash is a fierce competitor here, and it has to be respected and given respect. I see it more actually than an adversary in this battle. But
cash is great, but the problem is they're trying to get rid of it, right? So
there is a lot of push by a lot of people, particularly a lot of marketing by the card companies. They're behind it. And yes, in Europe, they really pushed it. What happened is the governments, what they did is, in order to try to push card payments, they regulated the fees really low on merchants. So in the European Union, if you pay with an EU credit card, the merchant gets a very low fee. The minute you bring in a credit card from the States or from Canada, that's a different story. After Brexit in the UK, credit card merchant fees went back to the more international norms. That was quite interesting too. So that's how they're doing it in the EU. But what they're missing is all the people that are coming from outside, the tourist industry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's where this is where it's getting really interesting. I went to the EU for MoneroCon, and I pay for all my day-to-day expenses with cash. And the reason is I simply didn't want to do this, pay this spread, because I could get the euros cheaper here at 1% or 1.5% rather than 3% of through the bank or through a credit card, even more 4%. So I would pay pretty much for everything with cash.
What do you think needs to happen for normies, people that aren't as privacy obsessed as we are, that don't really understand the value that comes with using cash, to say, you know what, I'm going to start using Monero with Cake Wallet to buy gift cards versus using, my Visa card? Like what still needs to happen for that to take place? For the normal guy to be like, you know what, I'm going to stop using my credit card and now I'm going to start using this option.
Like, for example, if I'm paying in Canada, the merchant fees for a Canadian card is less than a cross-border card. That's the first thing that happens. The credit cards are very competitive. You get 1% cash back.
Mm-hmm.
You have no exchange issues, and the merchant gets the lowest possible rate, especially really big merchants. So the cost is actually quite low. So it's actually very competitive in certain situations. I think when you understand that the credit cards can be like a margin of 0.5%, all the way to maybe 8%, depending on the transaction. So there's a huge range here for domestic transactions involving high net worth individuals and very big corporations. credit cards are fiercely competitive. Is when you go into a small business and say, for example, somebody who is below the poverty line, then credit cards really start to break down.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really depends on the transaction. That's what I'm saying. There's a huge range in credit card costs. So I think trying to understand the competition is critical. For a lot of people, the fees, they've got a lot of effort has gone to hide these fees from the consumer. Most people don't realize how much they're being scammed on this.
Awesome.
Yeah, and businesses are the same. Sorry?
I was also going to answer Doug's questions that why would you say, no, I have to use a credit card? I mean, limits, especially for our product, right? The limits could be something where you say, oh, hotels.com, you can buy 4 cards at $500 each. So $2,000 to book a hotel room. But if you need more than that, what do, right? So for some maybe big ticket items, you'll have to go with your credit card.
But wouldn't someone like Travala come into competition there and take Monero directly?
Right. That's one type. I was just using travel as an example.
Yeah, yes, it's an example. Yeah. But a lot of these small purchases, a lot of the stuff we're talking about is the biggest. It's a huge market in the under $1,000 or 1,000 euro limits and all this kind of stuff, which I think people should just start using cash a lot more to push back on this cashless society. The other issue you get into, and this is a big one, is for a lot of people, they don't have access to credit cards. And so getting a prepaid value is one way to get around the fact that they cannot buy stuff online.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another market that you have. So a lot easier getting your hands on Monero than it's getting your hands on a debit card.
Right. And the small businesses, the vendors, they don't like credit cards, right? They're paying.
A lot of them hate them.
Yes.
But it's the other ones that push it on you too.
In New York, they rather you pay with cash or debit. They don't want to pay those transaction fees, the credit card fees.
I have a question for you. Do you get cheap debit in the United States right now?
What do you mean cheap debit?
The debit where the merchant isn't paying like 1% fees or something like that.
Oh, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know.
I find that really interesting because in Canada they have this thing called Interact, which actually is very easy on the merchant. The merchant basically gets full value, or I think a very small fee, versus the card transaction, which is your 3% or 2% merchant fee. And that distinction is very clear whether you're using a debit card or whether you're using a credit card. In the United States, my understanding is basically the fees were the same for card payments. And maybe I'm wrong on this. That's why I was wondering about that point.
You mean a prepaid debit card, like a Visa, MasterCard?
Well, a prepaid card it's the most expensive solution. That is actually they have the highest merchant fees.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to understand which card you mean.
No, I'm talking about something like it comes up straight out of your bank account, like a debit card onto your checking account.
Oh, they pay the same fees as a credit card does.
Okay, so there's no difference to the merchant. So basically, the merchant doesn't see a difference between a debit card and a credit card in the United States. Exactly. That's what I thought. In Canada, there is a difference.
Vic, are you sure? Because I know there's places that don't even want credit; they rather have debit.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know.
That's what I asked
the reason for that.
Yeah. In the United States, that surprised me, actually, to tell you the truth. But I don't know the answers for that. In Canada, yes, you will see that. You definitely will see that. But in the United States, I haven't seen it.
Artic, I got to ask you, what do you think about the transaction count, Monero, that we're seeing right now? This kind of continuous uptrend. What's your?
Well, I like to look at these things going back like 5-year, 6-year trends, and it's been basically, if you look at back to 2016, it's been somewhat on average, I think, somewhere around a 60% increase per year. Now, some years we have had increases of close to 100%, like doubling. In other years, it's been fairly flat. Now, we've seen a fairly flat growth in Monero transactions through most of 2021 and parts of 2020. So I would expect to see, I expect that trend. In fact, I'm a bit surprised it's a bit low from what I was expecting. But I would not be surprised to see a doubling in transaction rates, say in the next 12 months, to be honest, for Monero.
Awesome.
I wouldn't be. I mean, you can't keep adding to something. And the other thing that's happening is you got to keep in mind that right now, Monero has already flipped Bitcoin Cash. So we're already starting to get becoming the big blocker coin, not just the privacy coin, the big blocker coin. That's a big one. So, I mean, Monero's been held back, in my opinion, by difficult fiat on-ramping, essentially because of blockchain surveillance companies lobbying against it. In places like the UK and Australia, for example, are good examples, and to some degree in Canada. And that's been one of the major sort of friction problems. But I would not be surprised to see a doubling in transaction rates in Monero in the next 12 months or a year.
Right. It's gonna happen all at once too, right? I mean, you have obviously more and more people using Monero, so it's won't it get exponential at some point as you have more people using, transacting?
Well, I mean, if you want to get the theory of an adoption of a new technology, it's a sigmoid curve. It starts off at exponential, then it flat at 1,000 and saturates the market. And cryptocurrency right now is pretty much at that early adoption stage of exponential. In the case of Bitcoin, it was stymied by the block size divide. Essentially, you put a cap on the thing, and people stopped using Bitcoin because they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so it's been spread all over the place. I mean, that demand that went into things like everything from Litecoin, Dogecoin, Dash, Monero, Bitcoin Cash, a whole bunch of different coins. Now, what I am noticing is that there's very likely a consolidation in towards Monero right now, because Monero has been one of the few that's actually been growing or stable, and a lot of the others have been falling. So we could see a consolidation towards Monero in that respect. I mean, if you look at, for example, Dash used to have a higher transaction rate than Monero. It's now well below. Dogecoin was significantly higher than Monero, and it's now neck and neck. Bitcoin Cash, it's kind of neck and neck, and it used to be significantly higher. So we're seeing that kind of we're maybe seeing a consolidation towards Monero across all these other coins, and so that's a factor. And I think it's probably in markets where Monero is relatively easily accessible, like the United States. That's why you see that big move, for example, with Coincards, where Monero has become the dominant on-ramp for that product. So I think I'm a bit. I see a lot more than privacy in Monero. I mean, I've always been someone who says that there's a lot more to Monero than privacy. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can beat Bitcoin basically just on transaction rates and scaling. And you have to go near privacy in order to beat Bitcoin and most of these other coins, because they have fundamental problems with security and on and on and on. So, I mean, yeah, I would not be surprised to see a doubling, to be honest.
Yeah. People, that are, what is the argument for using Bitcoin? Like, other than trying to, store value, which, you get into that, but why, in Monero, it makes sense, right? We're saying go use Monero instead of using Venmo, instead of using credit cards, use Monero, because it makes, you're going to gain something from it, right? You're gaining privacy. You're losing this transactional history. You're losing the ability of companies to track and trace you, for governments to track and trace you. Why is somebody going to go through the friction of using Bitcoin to make their payments? Like, why are you going to say, take your fiat, move it into Bitcoin and start transacting with it? Like, what would even the reason be?
Well, I would say right now it would be liquidity. I mean, it's a margin spread. I mean, it's certainly in availability, access. It is still very accessible, a cryptocurrency. And unlike Ethereum, what has happened in Bitcoin is there's been such a drop in transaction activity after SegWit, so they effectively doubled the block size with SegWit. But then we see transaction rates in Bitcoin go down. I mean, if you look at transaction rates in the last 4 years in Bitcoin, they've been going down. Fees are about $1. So it's starting to be competitive again to some degree. if you're looking at liquidity, and it depends on the size of the transaction. But that's the argument that they have.
Yeah, but you don't have the default cache-like privacy. So it's like, what are you really gaining from it?
Well, what you're gaining is over a credit card is the fact that you may have access to Bitcoin and not access to a credit card. So if you want to buy online, for example, let's say a gift card through Coincards in Canada is a great example. There's a lot more accessibility to Bitcoin if you're starting with cash than it is to a credit card. So you already have an advantage over a credit card, especially over a prepaid card. Those things are really expensive. With Bitcoin, that you kind of had, say, in 2012, it was much higher. And if you pay for your Bitcoin to start off with cash, your tracking is broken at that point. And you could do it through an ATM or something like that. So you can maintain a certain amount, or at least a plausible deniability with Bitcoin. So it's still a competitor. The problem with Bitcoin is it's not a competitor at scale. The minute you start using it, it becomes too expensive because of this block size limit. Mm-hmm. But right now, it's $1 for a Bitcoin transaction. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, still, that's pretty bad.
It's way worse than Monero. But if you have a higher spread, depending on the number, so it kind of gets to a scenario if you're larger amounts and so on. So I can see why Canadian. That's why I think it's a difference in its availability. Ethereum is just priced itself right out of the market just by its fees are insane.
Yeah.
And then you have the things like Bitcoin Cash, which is trying to compete, but Bitcoin Cash is losing market share to Monero right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
hey guys, I gotta run.
I think in general we might wrap this up unless anybody else wants to jump on. But Vic, thank you so much.
Oh no, thanks for having me on. Artic Mine, thanks for your support. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Vic.
Yep. We'll wrap it up, right?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay, guys.
All righty, my friends. Yeah.
Till next week.
Till next week. It'll probably be next Saturday. And again, we don't say this enough. Make sure to like the video because it kind of like helps us because we never say that at all. So make sure to like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. These are simple things, but they're helpful. They help, my friends. So thank you, Artic, for joining us this week, and Tony for the news report. Really appreciate your time.
Oh, Vic saying Monero meetup. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the Monero. Yeah, we already said that, but
area.
we'll say it again. Yeah.
Come on down.
Really? I'm not going to say that in person if you're going to go
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night at 6:30 in Manhattan. I'll put share the link, the meetup link in the description. So if you haven't RSVP'd yet, please do. If you're in town, we'd love to see you and hang. And I guess with that, we will end the show. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next week.
Thanks, Artic.
Bye.
Thanks, Tony.
Adios.
Later.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.